Good morning and welcome to another episode of Salty Mechanics. Today we are going to take a closer look at the different parts on the engine and we are going to play with some inflatable toys. Yes, I actually said that. Let's just roll the intro. Okay. In the last episode I said springtime is here. I was so happy. I think I used the word wonderful 3-4 times. That's how excited I was. And then I woke up to this. It's snowing like there's no tomorrow. And I can't have that. I want to go back to that good vibe. And I thought to myself, a couple of years back I had a party, and at that party we had a bunch of those inflatable beach toys things you can blow up if you want to. You can get like a palm tree or maybe a flamingo or something. And I thought, why don't I just blow them up and put them around the workshop, you know, to help me get that good vibration that I need, that summer vibe. So that's what I'm gonna do. And after that, we're gonna talk engine. All right. Doesn't give you the summer vibes, then I don't know what will. I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my coffee and just think about springtime and summer, and hopefully the weather is gonna change. Yep. Or maybe not. I don't know. Suddenly this feels a bit dumb. I mean, what idiot would sit and drink coffee in a pink flamingo on the middle of the work floor? Not this guy. I'm not gonna drink this coffee sitting here. Something is off, something feels wrong. Can we just forget this ever happened? Is that possible? Can you just move on, you know, and think about other things, and you know, we'll just forget about this and start actually doing something that makes sense? Yes, let's do that. Let's do something that makes sense. Now this is summer vibes. Now springtime is finally here. Summer is right around the corner and I can just enjoy summer vibes. flying up there, and I am starting to take in water now. There's a lot more water here now than it was at the beginning, and I am trusting this big floating device. Oh my god. This was fun, and I got the summer vibes right now, even though I'm freezing my fingers off. I think it's time to go back to the workshop. All right, let's do it. That is so good. Okay, let's talk engine. And you know what? Let's just keep it simple for now. Later on, we can take the engine apart and we can look at the different parts and all that. But now, let's just, look at the engine as it would be in an engine room in some boat somewhere. And now, we have two engines sitting right here on the workshop floor. So let's just do a walkthrough. All right. This is a Yanmar 6LPA, and this is a Yanmar 3GM. Right here, where I'm sitting, we got about 300 horsepower, and here we got about 30. Now, let's just dive into this. Okay, so one of the biggest differences between the smaller engine and this 6LPA is that here you have a turbo. Now, the turbo gives the engine a lot more power. And the cool thing is that it actually does that by using the exhaust that comes out. We talked about this before, the mixing elbow. That's where all the exhaust comes out of the boat. Now, the turbo uses that exhaust to actually spin around. So let's say you want the engine to move faster. That's when, at a point, the turbo kicks in because of the pressure from the exhaust and it starts to spin around. Then it wants to drag in fresh air and it wants to compress that air. And then it sends that air to the intercooler. The intercooler cools down that air because when this turbo compresses it, it heats up, and you don't want that. You want cold air that doesn't take up that much space, and you send that cold air from the intercooler back into the engine. It's basically just about compressing the air and then cooling it down and then getting as much air as possible into the combustion process, and that way you get so much more out of the engine. It's a little bit easier to see the different parts on the smaller engine. So let's just go in and take a look at what we can see. All right, so here you see the starter. So when you press the button or turn the key around, this is where it all begins. The starter is going to connect with the flywheel in here and sort of kickstart the whole process. And after that, the engine is on its own. The starter sort of goes back. I can show you this another time, what actually happens and what the starter actually do inside here. But this is where it all starts. And this right here is the engine's feet. So when the engine, let me just move this one down. So when the engine moves, you can see the rubber here allows for a little bit of, a flex, which is good. All right, let's move this one over here. Summer vibes. Okay, so here you can see the alternator, and the alternator is connected to this belt right here, which goes all the way down here to the crankshaft, and the crankshaft moves around. Actually, the crankshaft moves everything around, like rods, pistons, and all of that. And whenever the engine is moving around, it helps to move the alternator around so that the alternator can actually charge your batteries in your boat. Also, this belt goes around what we call the camshaft, which is up here, and the camshaft actually helps open the valves. Also, here where you have the freshwater pump, air is coming in the engine through this air filter right here, and water is coming in the engine through the impeller pump right here. Now, this is a constant process. Salt water is going up here through the different hoses and then through the heat exchanger. Let me move the coffee here. On here you have the fresh water, so the salt water actually goes through the heat exchanger and out back with the exhaust, and on the way the salt water cools down the fresh water that is on the engine. All right, so I gotta drink some coffee and move on. So the engine also needs diesel. Now this is the feed pump. The feed pump actually drags diesel from the tank through a filter normally, and then all the way up here to this filter on the engine, which is inside this cup here. Further on you can see the high pressure pump down here, which is sending diesel through the pipes here and all the way up here to the 3 nozzles. This is a 3-cylinder engine, so you have 3 nozzles going down here, and you can't see it, but inside here the nozzles are actually constantly feeding the top of the pistons with diesel. And that's the beginning of the combustion process. You need that constant flow of diesel. Right here you change gear, so this handle will be connected to a wire. Now it's a bit dark here, but right here you see the block, the engine block itself, and inside the engine block, that's where you have the cylinders, the pistons, the rods, and all of that. Also the crankshaft. And up here you have the top, and in the top you have the valves and all of that, and this is the top lid. This is where you fill oil on the engine, and here you have the oil filter, and the oil is of course always pressurized in the system here so that you have oil to all the different parts that needs oil. All right, I hope you think that was a good introduction. I mean, now you do know a little bit more about the engine. I'm just trying, what's going on here? Oh my God. What? I'm trying to make a video here.
Close the door.
That's gonna help.
Yeah, close the door.
Alright, I hope you think that was a good introduction. Now at least you know a little bit more about the small engine. I realize now that the big engine, you know, it's a chapter in itself. It's just a bunch of things, and there's no way we can cover all of that now. So, you know, especially since I spent most of the time sitting in a flamingo. So we can get back to all of this in future episodes. For now, I think I just want to relax a little bit and maybe go outside and fly the drone. So let's do that. That's it for today. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Remember, if you like these kind of things, inflatable toys, don't subscribe. I'm not going to be doing this every episode. Alright, so now, back to work. Well, I have never felt so alone. Am I worried? No, not really. A little bit.